Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Are you ready to pop your cork? In the left corner at 6'4", 242 pounds, with a record of 45-0, the undisputed.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Will.
Hey, how many bottles of wine have you had?
Well, Will, it's not the wine. I'm just so excited about the podcast.
Yeah, I am too. This is not a boxing match. This is We Know Texas Vino.
Salute.
Salute.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to We Know Texas Vino. We're so excited to be here. I'm with my great friend, Will Donahue, who is an amazing cohort and my partner in crime here for this podcast, which has gone kind of global, which is kind of cool. Will, you should be proud of that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Well, you're the tech guy. I mean, you're the engineer, so good for you for making this happen.
Oh, well, thank you for helping make this happen.
Thank you for making me make happening something. I don't know what's happening there. But anyway, we've lost it all. So episode 59 here at We Know Texas Vino. We're actually in a beautiful spot in Texas, interviewing a really cool lady here in Stephenville. We're still here. We did another podcast here earlier today. Yep. And we're just excited to do episode 59, share some time with an amazing lady and talk about, and we have stories. Oh my gosh, we have stories about some of the people she knows. In fact, I have the big one about The Godfather. I can't wait to talk about that question. It's going to be so amazing. So, there she's
this is going to be a great episode.
It's going to be a fun episode. We'll have a lot of fun with this. And so, we're here in Stephenville, and we're just excited to continue to charge the hill, continue to put out the podcast for our listeners, and we're very grateful for everyone out there. Will, real quick, how can folks reach out to us?
They can find us on Facebook at We Know Texas Vino. Yeah. And then find us on our website at weknowtexasvino.wine.
I love that.
And then, of course, you find us on any podcasting platform.
Absolutely. Yes. That's so cool.
Rate us for 5 stars.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, 5-star and then feedback. I mean, I know you and I and Andy, who's our co-heart as well, we all enjoy good feedback, and we're constructive criticism oftentimes is one of the greatest things you can receive to get over the hurdle, right?
Yep.
It's pretty cool. So we're here. So episode 59, folks, thanks for being here with us. And we're with a really neat young lady. She has a wonderful disposition and just a really cool person, and also from the wine world. So we're excited. So Laurinda Thomas, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, where do you live currently?
So I live outside of Abilene. In a little town called Merkel.
Okay.
Oh,
I know.
You didn't tell me you lived in Merkel.
Well, I just say outside.
Man.
I say outside Abilene.
You're right. And did you grow up there your whole life? Is that kind of who you are, a little Texas girl?
We moved out there this summer before my 4th grade year.
Okay.
So pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, if I can introduce you properly, and you are able to correct me if you would like, but you are an ambassador for our wonderful partnership with Texas Wine Lover app. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
How did you score that gig?
I knew this was coming.
Okay.
So I've been trying to think back as to how things have occurred over the years. And I think it was just I stumbled across the Texas Wine Lover Facebook page.
Okay.
Early on when we started our wine journey, our Texas wine journey. And I just became a member of the Texas Wine Lovers group. And I think it's just because of where I'm located. There's not many of us out in this area.
Okay.
And I was always willing to go out and hit the wine road with my mom. That was our thing. And
that is awesome.
It's just kind of one thing just kind of led to another over the years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And so you were on the app, obviously, and connecting with the team. And we know many of those folks. We're going to talk about a lot of them today because you have the inside scoop on that, right? But right now, if I can describe this young lady, so she's wearing a Texas Wine Lover hat, of course. She has a cape on. So she has, like a Superman cape that also says Texas Wine Lover on it. And then she, no, but I'm just joking about the cape part of it. But you are proud of that. And so how much fun has this been for you being associated with Texas Wine Lover? And maybe in addition to that, can you talk about some of the cool experiences, just in not the people, because we're gonna get on these people. There's some really fun people, but some of the cool experiences you've had in this endeavor.
I love it. I think that I've been super fortunate to meet a ton of amazing people in the industry, not just winemakers, winery owners, but in the industry itself.
Right, like today even.
I know, sorry. Got distracted by something going on over there on the
so
side.
Laurinda is like a squirrel. She got distracted. Oh, there's an acorn.
Yes.
Same here,
Yeah, same with
I'm proud. I'm glad that Jeff has allowed me to become part of the team and entrust me to do what I do.
Yes.
I am a contributing writer.
Yeah.
Writing is definitely not my forte.
Oh.
I really have to be in the mood to get my articles written.
Do a good job. I've read a few of the things you've written. You did a really nice job with that.
I tried it. I just write it from
from the heart,
the layman's perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love to hit the wine road.
Okay.
I love to go out and meet, the little mom and pop wineries in the area, and I like to do what I can to help support them and showcase them, much like what y'all are doing.
Absolutely. So, Will, it's kind of cool. We've met a few of the ambassadors. I hope that's the proper term. I believe you are an ambassador for Texas Wine Lover.
I don't think she's an ambassador.
Superstar.
I think she's like super queen or something like that.
Super queen, yeah.
I don't know about that.
What is the workload? I mean, we know Jeff, and we affectionately call him the Godfather. We know Amy very well. We know Ron. I mean, we've met a few. Neil.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so many great people. We're going to talk about. If those folks are listening, just get ready because we're going to get some stories out of this young lady today. So we have to pick her brain on stories so we can hold them responsible for those episodes.
I mean, she is the only female of the three that we know outside of Amy.
Right. Amy.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get some stories out of her.
But what is the workload? I mean, Jeff probably calls you or whoever's in charge of that and says, hey, can you make this trip this day? Or do you kind of also communicate with them and say, hey, here's when I'm available. What can I do? What can I do to assist and add value?
So really, for the contributing writers, it's pretty much just we've got a list of wineries that need to be written about and showcased, or some that were written about several years ago that need to revisit. And there's a list that's put out, and it's just like, hey, who's going to be in the area? What can you commit to doing? If there's a festival coming up, they'll reach out and say, hey, is there anybody in the area that would be willing to go out and, be out there and showcase the Texas Wine Lover and educate people, get people signed up for the app.
Love it.
And it's really just about what can you do? What can you commit? Because not everybody. I have a job. I've got to find 9 to 5. Not 9 to 5, but I have a job. So my time out on the road's limited. So it's pretty much what can I commit to doing, and that's why I always say I live in the middle of wine nowhere. I live in Abilene.
You're right. You are.
We've got one little local boutique winery in Abilene, and then outside of that, it's an hour to Cisco for Broken X Blue Dug. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to Christoval, hour and 45 minutes to Comanche, to early Brownwood. So it's like, when I say I'm going to hit the wine road, I'm literally hitting the wine road. Yes.
Does your mom still join you on those, or do you have a boyfriend or a husband or somebody who joins you? Do you have a best friend? I mean, you don't go solo probably.
So my mom, I lost her in December of 2020.
We're sorry to hear that.
She was my road warrior, and our Texas wine journey was ours. It was something that she and I did together. For many years, it was just she and I, and then my friend Amanda Cole would eventually come out and join us sometimes when she could. Occasionally, now that Mom's gone, I do solo it a lot because otherwise I'd be stuck at home.
Right.
Or my dad, bless his heart, he gets strung out a lot now.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I know I watched your post several times, and you're like, I opened this bottle of wine for my dad, or I brought him out today and had him drink this wine. Yeah. You got to do that with people. You got somebody to come in.
Plus, he probably likes getting out of the house too, and what a perfect opportunity to go with your daughter and go do a father-daughter opportunity.
Oh my God.
And see the sights.
My gosh, he loves to get out and talk to people.
Right.
Bless,
Yeah.
Bless your
you're
hearts.
an excellent communicator, and we've enjoyed our time here today with you as well. But I was thinking back to kind of like your job description. So it sounds to me like and knowing Jeff, I mean, it's probably kind of low key. It's like, hey, we'd like people to go here if you have the opportunity. Check that on your list. But do you have like a quota in order to participate as an ambassador, or is it pretty wide open right now?
So there used to not be, but I think that as so many more wineries have been opening, they're requesting one article a quarter.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not too bad.
It's not. But let me tell you, it takes me a while to get in the mood to write.
So
we got one for you now, don't we?
Yeah.
I do. I was over there taking notes. You saw that.
Do you have any writing history, any like college or even high school or any sort of writing knowledge, or are you just like
no?
And so you're out of your comfort zone.
Yes,
that's really cool.
Just like right now.
For our listeners, she looked a little while ago. I thought she looked very good now, but a little while ago she was like, I think I'm regretting this. This is very scary.
I know.
But
but I will like to fill in our listeners here that when I told her she was going to do this podcast.
When you told her?
I told her.
He did.
No, I literally told her she was going to do this. And she's like, no, I don't want to do this. I said, yes, you are going to do this. And she's like, no, I'm not. And I said, I'm going to give you some wine. She goes, okay.
I'll do anything. I'll do almost anything for some
You're doing
wine.
great. And again, you're just a wonderful young lady. And already today, just getting to know you here for the last hour or so, I can tell you're going to be a great addition to the wine juggernaut, this dynasty that's happening in Texas right now. And you're part of that.
It's
Do you understand
amazing.
that, Ms. Thomas?
It's
how beautiful that is? That's amazing. Yeah.
I try to do my little part.
Yeah. Well, I think Texas wine lover in general, to me, if I think of a few staples that have really set Texas apart from a lot of other states. We're still, still in the running with some other states, which we won't mention: California, Oregon, Washington,
New York,
New York, Florida.
Jersey.
I'm joking. I said Florida. But that you are a big part of that, and so the Texas wine lover, to me, and we're really promoting that big time because we know all those folks over there. But how cool is that? Even if you think, I don't know if you've ever cast the vision at all, Laurinda, but even in 5 years, the impact that you and your colleagues are going to have with this community is fantastic. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
okay.
I know it's over the past several years, even after I first joined, just the group, just as a consumer, just starting the journey up until now, it's amazing. The change that we've seen,
the metamorphosis.
Yep. Yes.
How long have you been doing it then?
How long have you been doing what?
How long have you been an ambassador? How long, she's like, how long have I been drinking wine since I was 12? So no. How long have you been an ambassador?
That's what that's part of what I was trying to think back to when everything started.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell you.
Okay.
Because to me, once you became part of the Texas Wine Lover group and you start posting and communicating with people, to me at that point, you're to a degree becoming an advocate for the Texas wine industry because you're educating people and showing people
100%.
Some wineries or wines that they might not be familiar with. And that's one of the niches I have out here where I am. There's not anybody else out in this area.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Well, so you talk about your trying to remember where you got your start in the wine industry. So let's back up even further.
Okay. Oh my!
When did you start drinking wine, and you realized that you started liking wine, and then we can kind of fill in the blanks as you're going.
So I'm pretty confident on this timeline, I think. So mom and I, myself, like most people, we started grocery store wine. And what started our Texas wine journey is we used to go to WinStar a lot, a couple of times a year. And going in on 35, we would always see the billboard for Blue Ostrich and Arcade.
All right. That's up there. You bet.
Yeah. So we would, we'd pass that a lot. Mom and I were, we were still fairly early on in our wine drinking, whatever you want to call it. And we decided one time on one of our trips that we were going to come back in and go check out this Arcade and Blue Ostrich. And that was back, I believe that was sometime in 2015.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
And, one time and we were hooked.
That's all it takes.
That's,
Yeah, one time, and that is that's our neighborhood up there, right? That's especially my neighborhood, and I love that Red River area up there.
Yes.
The ones you mentioned, we know the owners very, very. We've done podcasts there. They're just spectacular human beings, and so I can see that hook. But so when you're up in that area, and you and your mom are out there, did you each have the same taste for wine, or did you were you experiment? And then did that help you appreciate what your mom liked, and maybe what you liked, and you were starting to experiment a little bit more, and that kind of broadened your horizon?
So when we first started, we were both, like I said, we were still fairly new. So, our grocery store wines of choice were like White Zinfandel, White Merlot.
Right.
We weren't into the big bold reds or anything yet. So when we first started, we were on we liked the same thing. As a matter of fact, I think our first trip out to Blue Ostrich and our collective wine that we liked was Cielo. They're sweet red.
Yeah. Okay.
So sweet red, that and the Poppy's Garden. And then over the years, I started to venture more to the dry side, the dark side.
The dark side.
And mom, mom stayed more sweet. She went a little bit more blush, but she had a hard time getting to the dry side.
Right.
So it's like our taste changed a little bit.
Sure.
So that was kind of interesting because she always continued to try, and it doesn't matter where we go, we always try whatever they have, just because you never know.
Yep.
I think probably one of the funniest stories about a transition of what you start out with to what you end up with is I think the first time we took my dad went with us and we went to Blue Ostrich, and we had done a tasting, and my dad ended up with a glass of orange muscat.
All right. Okay.
In the fancy little cordial glass.
Yeah. Right.
And me and my mom, we were probably drinking Poppy's Garden or Cielo because we were still early on, and we just kept making so much fun of my dad. It was so funny. And the next time we went out there, he 180'd and went big bold dry red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it was just, that's one of our...
Orange Muscat to dry red. For sure.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like going Moscato to bold red also.
Which was your experience, right?
I did.
For sure, yeah.
I think, but I mean, this was just probably within a course of a year. So it's like, that is the funniest story we had. And we always talked about that going out there was that transition in such a short period of time.
Yes, yeah, literally shifted. I mean, you went from one to the other in a matter of moments, probably after that experience. That's cool. Well, you have a lot of experience. I can tell just listening to you, but you're a young woman, and so tell us about your experience with wine, like appreciating it and being able to teach, as opposed to now experiencing Texas Wine Lover and your opportunities to travel. What have those experiences, and how do you now relay that to other people?
Well, I mean, I have a pretty, I think it's still a very limited palate. You know, I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. Can't always give you the good descriptors that you read, you know, on the tasting menus, but I know what I like. So I've got some friends that know they call me a wino, and I'm like, thank you. Yes, I am a Texas wino.
That's right, Texas wino.
I proudly wear that badge.
Represent it.
But, you know, I've gotten to where there's a lot of people that know that, so they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, what would you know, I'm going to be making this. What do you think I should drink with it? Or, hey, I've got a friend and this is what they like at the store. What do you think you have from Texas that they would like? So I'm able to kind of...
How cool is that?
I like it, but then I'm always apprehensive that it's like, well, what if I make the wrong recommendation? Because, you know, you just never know.
Never second guess yourself. I mean, you know what your palate is, and you know what the wine is, and you know what will go with it.
Well, I read a couple things you've written, and also listening to you today, I have confidence that you know what you're doing. So just believe in yourself, sister.
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, if you were to say when you first started teaching, and you were kind of before your Wine Lover app experience, and you know, a friend asked you were at a 2 knowledge-wise, and 10 being the best. Where are you now? I mean, let's say you were a 1 or 2 when you kind of got into it, and then what have you learned?
Well, you know, I'm definitely not a 10. I'd say maybe I'm like an 8.
That's impressive. No, that's awesome.
I don't know, because like I said, I know what I know, and I've drank enough to know what I like and what I don't like.
Okay.
But I don't know. You know, there's still so much that I need to learn.
Yeah. Well, let's say like Jeff Cope is a 10, and maybe Andy Gonzalez with the Wine Guy. He's a 10.
If we actually ask them, they wouldn't say a 10.
No, because they're modest.
They'll say they're 20.
Oh, but I don't know. Jeff's pretty modest too. He'd be cool.
Jeff would say no.
Right. But so that's pretty. So an 8 to me is very impressive, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, you're excited about it, and it's your enthusiasm, it's your energy. I think it's pretty cool. So
you know, when I started getting into this podcast here, you know, finding the Texas Wine Lover app was my key thing first. And I started reading it, and actually knowing now, Jeff actually had a podcast, and that was his podcast that first started out. And I listened to that, and I'm not going to make any comments at all. It was a good podcast.
Okay, that's a nice comment.
That's all I will say. It was a good podcast.
Laurinda and I earlier were taking bets over under 9. How much you were going to talk about that lemon meringue pie, and so for you just to hold back on the Jeff Cope podcast, that's pretty impressive.
So, like 5 or 6, 5 or 6.
So I think you bet over, I bet under. So you owe me $10. So there you go.
But I mean, you know, listening to his podcast, and then also reading what he has on the Texas Wine Lover, and then getting to know all of y'all, and then doing this podcast as well. You know, my experience in the Texas wine industry has grown leaps and bounds because of it. Because
it sure has. Yeah, you know, both of us.
We're drinking wine from one winery, and we were like, "Oh, this is good winery," and then all of a sudden we start drinking from other wineries. We're like, "Wow, there is other good wine out there too." You know.
Yeah, and just to clarify a little bit too, and I think you'll like this, but Will is actually one of the most knowledgeable people I know about wine, and I think it's just really since I've met you. I mean, you've been drinking wine for 4 years. I've been drinking wine for 40 years, right? And so for you, the way you you analyze it and then articulate it is actually pretty impressive, Will. You've done a good job with that. I mean, you could be ambassador.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
that's awesome.
I will say this is. I have restarted working at Landon again.
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
You remember when you and I was working there, and I would refuse to do the tastings,
right?
The Grapevine Wine Tour.
Sure.
Well, now I'm actually doing it. In the last 2 I've given, the people who actually own it have come into Landon and said the last 2 tastings they've done, they gave good reviews about me. That's and great. How that I really made that a really good experience with them. And it's great to know, you know, I mean, I'm not an expert at it by no means,
right?
But I know enough to be able to educate the people who don't know enough to let them understand more about Texas
Well, I
wines.
have one goal in life, and that is to get people out of their comfort zone. Today, I'm proud to say I got Will out of his comfort zone. He is doing tastings in front of 20 or 30 people, and I have Laurinda in front of a microphone for a podcast. How about that? That's a success day right there.
Yeah, that's a successful day.
I love it. Well, I'm kind of curious, Miss Thomas, about your travels with Texas Wine Lover. So what is like the furthest destination you've gone to? And I wrote down 2 words here, also a unique and also maybe a crazy experience. Can you maybe share some of the things you've experienced? First of all, how far have you traveled to support?
I would say Tyler's probably the farthest I've gone.
That's a bit. Yeah,
I've
from
gone.
here. Yeah.
Craziest, I think probably in a sense of crazy, it would probably be some of the roads that we've traveled to get to
I was thinking,
where
like, did you run
we're
into a tornado, or did you run into a herd of cattle, or who knows?
Or going to a deliverance area.
No.
So, I mean, there is that one road that's got that 100-mile-an-hour speed limit sign that, you know.
I need to find that road
where's that at?
now.
Do you know where that's at?
No, I don't.
It's out at RK.
I have not seen it. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that? Yeah, next time you're going.
No, where at?
We'll find it.
Yeah, when you're right past the tank.
Oh, I guess it's not there no more because it's not.
They take it down. It's probably because somebody was maybe
Probably,
going 100 miles
I
an
would
hour.
follow the speed limit.
I see the one that says 15.
Okay, yeah, no.
I like the 100 one though. The Camaro.
I do like that.
So probably craziest, and this would just be weather related.
Yeah, sure.
Mom and I were going to Blue Ostrich was doing a sneak peek event, and the weather, you know, I mean, it's Texas. Come on,
especially in that area.
So we drove down. We made a couple of winery stops. We got to our hotel that night, and when we got up the next morning, it had snowed. And iced over.
Oh, that would be brutal.
And my mom was like,
petrified.
So we're not going, right? We were staying in Gainesville, and I was like, yeah, we're going. We're in my husband's 4-wheel drive truck. We'll be good.
4-wheel drive.
And my mom was like, we're not going. And I said, yes, we're
famous last
we
words.
are going.
Famous last words.
And guess what? We went.
Oh, good
and
for
we
you.
made it.
Yeah.
And
they were open.
They were open. It was full. Their tasting event, I don't think anybody no-showed.
That's the support of local wineries. We hear, even here, we're at, in Stephenville, Texas. I mean, there's support for that winery. And snow, it's just snow. It's just 4-wheel drive.
Ice.
Especially Texas, they got 4-wheel drive. We'll make it happen.
You know that one road, the road going out, you hit that hill and it's my mom was like, we're going to end up in the ditch. I'm like, we're going.
Oh, that's funny.
We're going to do this.
We're going.
Hold my wine and watch me.
and so that is a crazy story because, we know the owners over there. I'm not surprised they kept it open and they want to support their community too. And people just show up. And that wrote down unique. So what is probably the most unique experience you've had with Texas Wine Lover traveling?
And you can talk about Ron here at this point.
Can we talk about Ron?
No, you can't talk about people. I want like unique. Like we're in a beautiful, cute little winery today, and you've got to enjoy that. I mean, have you been here before by chance?
I have not.
So it's pretty cool, right? What a great experience, great ownership, and we met. Shelley's incredible.
Yeah.
Her staff. I can't wait to meet her daughters and her grandchildren, which is pretty cool. They're amazing human beings. But and so how much fun is that? So what is like the most unique thing that you've experienced?
I mean, I don't know if it would necessarily be unique, but I've had some good opportunities.
Okay.
I think one of my favorite things, I've gone out and I've done hand harvest a couple of times before.
Very nice.
I've helped a bottle. But I think probably one of my favorite things that I did was I had the opportunity to go out and watch a night harvest with the big boys out in the high plains. I headed out on a Friday night, went out and watched the night harvest with the Wilmus brothers.
Wow.
That would be fun.
See, that's unique. That's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. It was interesting. Me, loving the people and liking to learn about the process.
Yes.
It was neat to go see how they did it.
Yeah.
Because we've done hand harvest. I went to RK a couple of times and Blue Ostrich and did a hand harvest, but to see how the big boys do it that have like hundreds of acres of vines.
Mechanical.
Yes, it was so neat.
It's crazy.
It was fun.
I was thinking that would be unique for me to do.
It was fun. It was fun.
Watching it go down the aisles, and what they do is they shake the vines.
Yes.
Shake it very vigorously. Now, they don't do the first 10 feet.
Okay.
Because it tears the end pole down.
Sure.
So that first 10 feet, it has to be handpicked.
Yeah.
And then, after that, it's all mechanical harvest.
Yeah.
And so, it's pretty interesting to watch that machine just go down and it just
shakes them off.
And it's crazy how the
shake it off. Sorry, I had to do that. It's the only song I know by her.
This is an anti-Taylor Swift podcast.
Taylor Swift, anti-Taylor Swift.
But it is amazing though, watching the hand harvester. Oh, sorry, not the hand harvester, but the
machine
mechanical
harvester,
not tear the poles off, or or tear the trellises up, or
damage the vines. It was so. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily unique, but to me, it was such an interesting process to watch. To know how a hand harvest works and to have done it, and then to see how the big boys do it.
The big boy. I like how you described that too. That is literally the big boys. You're bringing in the big machinery for that. That's pretty cool. They're harvesting it a lot. Well, cool. Well, so as an ambassador, what would you say are your top 3 things you're trying to teach people when you meet them, or what are you trying to share in order to educate?
I think just trying to get people out. Especially where I live, because like I said, I call it the middle of wine nowhere, and trying to get people to want to venture out of Abilene to go to an actual winery, to a tasting room, and experience that. That's kind of been one of my biggest things, is to try to get some of my people to transition from the grocery store wines to the Texas wines, and even try the Texas wines that are for sale in the grocery store.
Yeah, right.
So, what's very interesting, why most of West Texas, kind of like, let's say from Breckenridge, Eastland, all the way to Abilene, to Midland, to Odessa, you know why they can't grow grapes out there?
Wind.
Nope.
What?
They used to do where they pumped salt water into the ground to pump the oil out.
Yeah, okay.
So the soil is like covered in salt.
It's salt.
And it's just, you can't grow, literally you can go out through West Texas and you'll see fields that are they're just barren. There's no grass. There's nothing. It's just dirt.
That's from the salt water. It's contamination.
Yep.
Interesting. I did not know that. No, that's interesting stuff. Well, let's say that Will and I were brand new. We just moved here from Sweden. Okay. And we wanted to learn about wine in Texas.
Sweden. Sweden.
What? I don't know why I picked Sweden. It could have been anywhere in the world. I picked Sweden. All right.
I just a little trading places there.
Yeah, right. What would you teach us today? What's your priority when you say, listen, I know what's going on with the community. I know what the we'll call it tipping point. Things are starting to happen in Texas. What do you want to teach 2 Swedes?
I would say, it's the same thing I think I try with people that aren't used to drinking Texas wines. They're still grocery store purchasers. It's just go experience, have an open mind, ask questions, listen, and just try. That's the main thing, is just get out and try it.
You've brought that up a couple times. That's got to be one of your priorities, obviously. It's so apparent to me, right? And then clearly people, we get so programmed and we get so busy that how convenient is that store to go buy a couple wines, right? But what Will and I have experienced, you go into a lot of these stores, I'm not going to name any, and there's a very small selection of Texas wines. And we think that is a disaster.
H-E-B is doing a much better job at that because they are a Texas-based company,
right.
And they promote Texas like you would not believe.
Sure.
And for them to start offering more Texas wine in there, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, but it's also people have to get out and buy.
Yeah.
Well,
people have to buy, but you're not going to buy if you haven't tried.
Right. Well, here's what the one thing I actually heard recently that's kind of mind-boggling me, but at the same time, I kind of understood, but at the same time, I told him, well, you got to just venture out.
Yeah.
And one of the things I actually heard was that Texas wine is more expensive than going to the grocery store. And I'm like, it is.
It is.
And I explained to them why it's a little bit more expensive. And I said, because the wine that you get at the store, they have a set formula. They make sure it's made the exact same way year in, year out. And it doesn't matter if it's good fruit or bad fruit.
Right.
You're always going to get the same wine no matter what.
Right.
That right there is why you get the same price, because they can set the price at $18 a bottle, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, when you go to the Texas winery, you may be paying $40, $50 for the exact same varietal, but here's the deal between that bottle and that what you buy at the store.
That's right.
Is that bottle is going to be made differently every time because they're going off the terroir.
Right.
And they are going to have to make adjustments accordingly, where when you do mass production, you don't have to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just also, there's something about buying local as well, which I'm a huge advocate for. I mean, the local farmers markets, of course, the local wineries were huge. In fact, I've canceled a few wine club memberships, haven't I? Because I want to buy more local where I live. I'm just all about supporting those folks for sure.
Right.
But there is also something about, teaching and just showing people and just, can you appreciate the fact there's sweat equity and there's dedication, there's commit, there's risk in being an owner, and just saying, listen, let's honor those people. Why wouldn't I buy a bottle of wine from this establishment we're in today, as opposed to going by a Saint Michelle from the local supermarket, because I want to honor that. And so I think as I think of Texas Wine Lover and what they have accomplished with that application, which is absolutely ridiculous in a good way. It is spectacular.
Yes.
In fact, I would put it up against any other state. Anything going on in any other state right now, I'd put it up against. But for us to be able to teach people that we have wonderful local wineries in Texas, and it's only beginning, in my opinion.
Exactly. And I think over the years of getting to meet some amazing people in the industry, from growers to winery owners to winemakers and other wine ambassadors, I've gained a much greater appreciation and knowledge that I obviously didn't have before.
Pretty cool.
So that too spurs me to want to support and do whatever it is that I can. I tell you, I gift a lot of Texas wine
me too.
to people
we all do,
that that are like, they know I like wine. I know like they like wine, but I'm like, here. Here.
Yeah, my daughter's flying up to Alaska to visit some friends here in a couple weeks. I'm thinking about sending my case that holds 6. I know we have another one, 12. Sending Texas wines up to her friends and her family, and those people who. And how cool would that be to her bring that up there and showcase even up there, which is just spectacular. She leaves next week, so I need to get on that.
So interesting this is. So the other day, I had a lady come in to the winery, and she was like, I hate Texas wines. I hate Texas wines. I mean, literally was saying these words. And she asked if we had any some California Cab there. And I said, yeah, we do. So I poured her a bottle of it, and she drank it. And I said, would you be open to drink anything from Texas?
Right.
And she goes, you know what? I will give it a shot. And I was like, okay. So I reached over there and grabbed a bottle of Bob Landon's Texan, and I poured it for her.
Yeah.
And she drank it, and she's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And this is all from Texas? I said, yes, ma'am. This is 100% Texas grape. It's Sangiovese and a Cab Sauv blend. This has been a gold winner multiple times for this winery here. And she's like, okay, I need to try another Texas wine. And literally the minute I started doing that, man, she's like, okay, Texas has some good wines. And I said, you can't come into a winery, especially a Texas winery, and expect it to be California. You have to come in open-minded and realize that, the grapes that you're going to be trying are going to be different, and you have to understand that and open your mind for it.
Right.
Well, I think we all kind of have that responsibility to start off everything, whether it's Texas Wine Lover, and of course we have Laurinda as an ambassador, or whether it's a podcast like we're doing here. I think we should all start with, hey, just be open-minded. Wait until you experience this, which is pretty fantastic, right? And so I think it's across the board. Like my son didn't like eating vegetables when he was younger. Now he just devours them. Be open-minded. Make sure you're trying new things. And isn't that one of your priorities as well, as I start to isolate the priorities you have with this wonderful opportunity?
It is, and it's also not to have a blanket statement of I don't like. Look, here's my biggest one. When I first started, I was like, I don't like Chardonnay.
I still don't like Chardonnay. Oh, by the way, I burned those. I burned them down for you.
We'll have a conversation in the parking lot.
A scrap.
Yes,
those are fighting words.
That will be a takedown, and I will bend.
I have no doubt about it.
I used to always say I don't like Chardonnay.
Right.
I don't like Chardonnay, but I still tried it, because you never know, and
exactly.
I have found my Chardonnay.
Yep.
Good for you.
I agree with
Oh
yeah.
Same for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's RK Chardonnay.
Oh, RK.
Any vintage, regular, reserve. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
I love that's my Chardonnay.
Okay, right.
But and two, you can't make a blanket statement.
Yeah.
You always have to try. You might not like a Chardonnay at this winery, but you still need to try it at the next, because it might be different and you might like it. You always have to try.
I'm not a fan of the buttery, oaky taste of Chardonnay whatsoever.
No butter bomb.
Right.
No butter bomb. No butter bomb.
But that Grayson has out there is just amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes you find it, and I remember teaching you about Syrah, right? And your first Shiraz or Syrah, and you tried that, and you're like, I love that.
That was
amazing.
out there also.
That was awesome. You've got. You can't be close-minded. You always have to be open to trying, because you can have the same varietal at two different wineries and it's going to taste two completely different ways.
Absolutely.
And if you close your mind to it and you just blanket statement and don't try, you could be missing out on some really good wines.
That is for sure. That is absolutely true.
This is, and I've said this in multiple episodes, that you could take the same grape off the same vine from the same vineyard, give it to two totally different people, and one could be like, I don't care for that, but you can go over to the other one and drink it, and it'd be like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Right. Right.
Awesome. Here's the transition. I hope you're both ready for this, okay? And the transition is beautiful. Oh, now she's sweating. The transition is beautiful because we get to pick on people. So I'm going to say a name, and I'd like you to tell me about these amazing human beings. Now, I have 4. Will may have some other ones. I've met 4 amazing
here's
people.
What we need. We need 3 things from, about this each person. Okay?
Why 3?
Oh.
Because this is the best
I just want the big one.
So the first one is how amazing they are.
Okay.
What makes them who they are.
Yeah.
Y'all
2.
are putting me on the spot.
Well, let's be perfect because they'll hold it against you. Don't worry. Hold it against
The second one is probably something that's funny about them.
Sure.
Like about their personality or who they are. And the third, we need a dark secret.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can help you with number 3.
Right.
But I'll do my best.
If I can add another one with your permission, Will, I think is what has their contribution been so far? I mean, how significant are these people, right?
Okay.
So you have a kind of broad, you can follow the list or you can say, you boys have lost your minds. Go with my own list, right?
Okay.
So the first name I'm going to throw out there is Jeff. Why are you laughing, Will?
The Godfather.
Do you know he was called the Godfather?
I did. I heard it on.
Oh, good. Podcast.
Where did you hear that?
I did heard it on the podcast.
What podcast was that?
We know Texas Vino.
I was checking to see if she realized where she's at.
Texas
We
Vino.
know Texas Vino.
I would like you to comment, and then I think Will and I both have some anecdotes as well.
So Jeff
Cope.
Yeah, Jeff Cope. He I think if it wasn't for him and the Texas Wine Lovers or Texas Wine Lover website, Facebook pages, I probably honestly wouldn't be where I am.
Right.
Because it's getting involved with that and reading and seeing everybody's post has really helped us branch out. Because when we first started our wine journey, we only went to, our core 3, Blue Ostrich, Arcade, and Marker Cellars. Those were the only wineries we went to. And it took a long time for us to even think about venturing out. And if it hadn't have been for the posts that I saw on the Facebook group, I probably wouldn't have even thought about going anywhere else. Okay. Honestly.
So he's been not only impactful with what you're accomplishing now, but what about as a friend and a mentor?
Yes. He's great. He's very quiet, very understated.
That man is not quiet at all.
He is. I've had the pleasure, when I've been around him, let me put it that way. When I've been around him, he's been out in this area a couple of times, and I've had the chance to come out. And, last time he was there, I took a vacation day and joined up with him out in Comanche, making the rounds. And it's been nice to have, a fellow wine lover out making the rounds with us and just having, somebody to talk to and bounce different thoughts and ideas off of.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you a question about Jeff? And then we got to toss in our anecdotes as well. I have 2 of them. They're fantastic. Okay. Is there a reason we shouldn't call him the Godfather? I'm willing to change and adjust my nicknames I give people. Yeah. Is there a reason we shouldn't call him the Godfather? Or do you feel like that's an appropriate name?
I think for what he's done, I think that's perfect.
Isn't he the man? He's the one who really spearheaded that. He's had great support over. He's got friends like yourself and people who understand his vision. But it's just amazing for him to what he's done. Kind of almost that spark, right?
Yes.
That spark and say, okay, let's make something happen here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
So anecdotes about Jeff, real quick. Will?
No, Jeff is.
I hope he's listening.
Yeah, well, he is going to be listening.
All right.
Because anytime he listens to our podcast,
yes.
If there's anything wrong, he immediately contacts me and points it out to me.
Yeah, and I don't need him one-off getting after me.
No, or me, probably.
Yeah.
That's one of my anecdotes. He already got me.
He has your number now.
So he is a good man. So I have two stories, if not 3, about Jeff. And the first one, we were down in Fredericksburg. We were staying at Amy's home, actually her guest home, and they came over and did a podcast with us. And I remember we were talking 2 things that stood out. One is he loves music, rock and roll. And I was a DJ. I love rock and roll. So we had that connection. But the other one is we were talking, I think maybe off air, we were talking about some things, and he immediately pulled out a notebook and started writing things down. When he hears an opportunity or an idea that will help branch out or expand the horizons, he is willing to keep his mind open. And that's a pretty cool thing about it. He's always willing to learn. I thought that was cool. And then, of course, my last one is pretty funny. We just had the Twigga conference here 2 weekends ago, and I made the big banner for our area, and I goofed up.
Can I tell you this? Can I tell the story?
You can tell half of it. I'll tell the last half.
Let me tell you the very beginning of it.
Sure.
So we get our booth set up in Twigga, and he walks over and he goes, "Hey, I love y'all's booth." And we're sitting there talking and stuff, and he goes, "Who did the banner on the back?" And I'm like, "Well, Michael did the banner." And he goes, "Are you sure he did the banner?" I was like, "Well, yeah, because he I showed him the emails and text messages and stuff, and he goes, "Well, since when did we become Texas wine friends and not Texas wine lovers?"
I put Texas. I was going way too fast, and you wanted to get it printed. I put Texas wine friends.
Oh my
And
God.
so the second half of the story is we have a big gala that evening, and we were eating dinner and having fun. And I bump into Jeff, and the first thing he does is he gives me a hand gesture, jokingly, of course.
Told him he was number one.
Yeah, told me I was number one. And I thought,
Nice.
for such a quiet gentleman, right? The established, quiet, intellectual,
Oh, my gosh.
very, very successful. For him to drop the bird on me was not cool, but I thought it was pretty funny.
But it was definitely funny. I know Jeff knows it all fun and games.
Absolutely. What a neat guy.
We put a big sticker up there that said "lover" on it instead of friend.
The next banner, Jeff, will be correct. So sorry about that. So second name real quick, Amy.
I love her.
Oh yeah,
I love her. I'll never forget the first time I met Amy. There was Amy and Lori Ware and Ken Viral were heading up to the High Plains to go make some winery rounds, and they invited me to join them. And I was so intimidated by Amy, knowing her background, and I'm like, my palate's so limited. I'm still new, and I was so intimidated. But as we were out going around and doing tastings and stuff, you just have this comfort level with her, and it's like I didn't mind. I felt comfortable kind of telling her what I thought, and she would give me some tips and tricks to try to get a different take off the wines. And I just love her. She's so infectious.
Yeah, she's amazing. What were your thoughts on Amy?
Amy is just an amazing person as well.
What do we name her? We have a nickname for her.
We called her Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, that's appropriate as well.
That lady does it all.
Yeah, my takeaway is she's a connector, right? And I think she even brought that up. I was also thinking, but she's like, yeah, people have called me the connector. Really? Because she made us feel at home. She obviously welcomed you into the pack of ladies who were out there, trouncing the fields and having a good time. But she's definitely a go-getter. And equally important is she's a team player. She's 100% on this. And she is just a huge advocate and an amazing woman who is uplifting the entire process. Texas Wine App, and she has that vision as well. So go Amy. I don't even know if Amy listens, but if she does, hello Amy, we miss you. And
I love
hope
her.
You're doing well. Next one is Neil.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting Neil yet.
Okay, that was one of my questions. Is do you all have like gatherings or something like that to connect and
we
talk?
We should do that.
We have not.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had team member Zoom calls, but it's not the same when you get to meet people and spend some time with them. That's when you really form.
We should do
the
that.
connection
like
and the friendship.
Right now,
we should
friends.
We should get Neil and Ron and Jeff.
Drop the last name, and you're killing me, bro.
I didn't say his
Right,
last name.
the best one's for last.
Oh,
Who's the
I
best?
know.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I know.
I know who it is too.
I know who it is.
Poor recall over here. So
no
Neil,
reason. What?
our takeaways on Neil. I've met him a couple times, and he is a gentleman. He is such a nice human being.
I have heard that.
He and his wife are wonderful. Quiet, but also you can just tell, like has this desire to do something really awesome and help out. He's a team player. He wants to help out, but also good to us. He's been really nice to us each time we've been there, and just he talks about we know Texas, we know, and go get it, guys, and just tear this up. We know what you're trying to accomplish, and as we do. But it's good to have friends like Neil, who we know is part of the ambassadorship for Texas Wine Lover, and just to have that really good man out there doing great things.
I look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, we'll all get together sometime. We're actually going to interview him when he has a moment. I know he's a busy man, so we're going to get him on this microphone as well and see if he acts like Laurinda. So, and then next and the last one, just the one I just picked out 4 names. There's many more people, of course, but Ron Martin. And the reason I brought this one because you told a great story earlier. I hope you'll repeat. And we really liked Ron. We interviewed Ron. He was very, very. Again, successful, but also just like spirited and directed, and he has like intentionality, and he's in a community which is amazing, and all he wants to do is support Keepersall and support the wine community and get out there, and he has the energy of a 22-year-old. We met his wife as well. She's amazing. And then of course he just loves good wine. So Laurinda, why don't you tell us a fun story about him?
Before she does that, she was really like, I don't want to do this after Ron because Ron's like so big, and I'm like, well, just because he's big doesn't mean you still can't go after him.
Ron has that
bigger,
confident personality, right? He's just he's very confident.
I said everybody's story is going to pale in comparison to Ron.
Well, but that is because we each have unique. Like I've enjoyed this interview. You're an excellent spokesman. You're fantastic.
I told her each one of us has our own unique stories.
Absolutely.
Depending on how you want to tell it, depends on how excited it gets.
Just not to be redundant here, but you've been an excellent interviewee, and you're obviously intelligent, and plus you have that passion. I can feel the energy. I can feel the synergy.
You know that face that your mom makes you when you're like, if you don't shut up?
I was always a golden child. I never had to worry about that ever. So tell us real quick about Mr. Ron Martin.
So Mr. Ron Martin. So let me start at the beginning with him because I love Ron and Pam to absolute death. They're family. They have become extended family for me.
Wow, that's amazing.
So early on in the wine journey, when like I said, we had our core 3 wineries that we always went to, and I told Mom that we probably needed to start venturing out a little bit. And my mom was like, no, she's like, it's so silly, but she was like, she felt bad going somewhere else. So I was like, Mom, there's, we have plenty of time to go back out there, but there's so many other places to go. Mm-hmm. And I had been communicating with Ron through the Wine Lovers group page, and we decided that we needed to go out to Keepersall. We needed to head to Tyler.
Yeah.
And we talked about it and worked on it, and Ron worked with Marnell, and they scheduled a Merlot vertical tasting for the trip we were going to have out there. And I told my mom, and my mom was like, oh,
intimidating.
I'm going to end up horizontal after the vertical. And we got there, and apparently Ron had told Marnell and the staff, and they were like, drink what you can drink. There's lots of water. There's lots of stuff, and we've got a golf cart out here if you need a ride.
Right. I love it.
And it was because of the communication that I had with him and then the work he did with them. Our first visit to Keepersall was just absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
Now, since then, anytime I go out to Tyler, I'm required to stay with the Martins. It's like if I even mention staying
obligatory. It's like it's offensive if you don't.
It seriously is.
Absolutely.
But he is just such an ambassador.
Yeah.
For Keepersall, the Texas wine industry. His passion is infectious, and his personality is just one that it brings people in.
Right.
Yeah, it does. He's welcoming. But one thing I think about is that podcast. It was seamless. I mean, it was just smooth, and I think that's a testament to Ron, right?
Yes.
Ron's just such a consummate professional, and so he's out there doing his thing. But it was very, and this one's going smooth too. But there's something about Ron, right? It's just who he is. That's why he was a leader.
Yes.
And that's why he was successful. And that's why he has a great marriage. That's why he was, he's enjoying retirement. And that's why he's in the wine community. That's why Keepersall just won the saddle at the Houston Award. That's why he's there representing that, that business model. So very cool about Ron.
I just love him and Pam to death. They are amazing, and they're such advocates.
Let's not build up Ron too much. Yeah. Ron, if you're listening, bring it down, mister. All right? You bring it down just a notch, mister. All right? I'll have to come out there and have an arm wrestling match with you.
I can't. So, I just love them.
But you did tell one story. Let's bring him down just a minute here. You said that you go out there. This is actually a beautiful thing. And you have tasting events with him. And so your experiences with Ron and Pam, have they opened one bottle of wine during those events? How's that work out for you?
Have y'all not seen the pictures?
I don't know if I've seen the pictures.
I've seen this.
They have, I call it the after party.
After party.
After a day of being out, usually spending a lot of time at Keepersall, and it's usually an event that we've attended out there.
Yeah.
There's usually just everybody just tends to end up back at the Martin's house. And if there's open bottles that need to be corked and disposed of, they come back with them. I know when I go down, I usually take several bottles to a case of wine, just because when people are there, I like to bring wines from here that some people in the area might not have tried. So it's it's just a matter of taking anybody that comes, you take wine.
Yes.
And it's just there. It's like a big smorgasbord of wine.
Yeah.
And you just open it so you can try everything you want.
Yep.
And if you go back and look at some of the pictures we've posted from the after parties.
4 bottles or 34.
I don't know if we've had that many.
I love it. That's so good.
But it's fun though, because there's people from the industry that come, and just a lot of friends that we've made through the process that just come and gather and just have a good time.
We came up with a nickname for Ron as well. Do you recall what it was?
I
should have written that one down because it was perfect for him.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you said we have a nickname for him.
We gave him one.
And then you can't even remember
I can't remember it. It's been so, that's horrible. Maybe we have to go back and listen to the podcast. I think we did it on the podcast. So we'll have to get on there and check that out.
Oh, I have to go back and listen to that.
And then Neil's the officer and gentleman, right? Officer and gentleman.
Yeah, he's
so I like
definitely
that.
officer and gentleman.
And then Ron, until we figure out that nickname, we'll call him the troublemaker.
I think that was what we called him.
I think it was.
The
we love you,
troublemaker.
Ron. Ron, thanks for all you do for the community. So I have 2 more questions. 2 more questions as we kind of wrap up our afternoon with this amazing young woman. Thank you for being here, by the way. I know it's a commitment to you to drive here and make those rounds. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
How do people get involved at your level? How if people are listening to this and they're like, I would love to be an ambassador. I have some writing skills. I'm really interested in learning from this cast of ambassadorship. How do people get involved?
I think if you've got the want to get out and do it, you just need to reach out to Jeff Cope.
Okay, Jeff, the Godfather.
Yes,
and
the Godfather.
And he'll make you a lieutenant in the Army.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
And then finally, from my perspective here, Laurinda, what do you want to tell Texas? Tell us about what you've experienced and what's happening with this beautiful state.
I'm just amazed at how much it's changed over there since I really started my journey. And I always say it's just as much about the people as it is the wine. And I know people that don't know look at me and they laugh.
Right.
And they think, yeah, right, you just want to go drink more wine.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
right,
I'm like,
right.
it's not.
No,
there are phenomenal people
Yes.
in the industry, from your growers to your winery owners to your winemakers.
Yeah.
And we need to get out and we need to continue to support them.
Right.
And do anything and everything that we can to support them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. That's amazing. So, well, listen, real quick, let's take a quick break and do our educational portion, and then we'll come back and wrap this up, Will. And we have some things we want to talk about and, recognize our partnerships and that sort of thing. We're just going to take a quick break with this beautiful lady, and we'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
Hey, this is Jeff Cole from TexasWineLover.com. We're here with Will, Michael, and Jen from We Know Texas Vino.
And this is Amy Nemec with the Texas Wine Lover mobile app. We're wrapping up the interview and moving into the wine education portion of the episode, so stick with us.
Welcome back, everyone, to the educational portion of this podcast. We're very excited to have you back, and we have a super awesome friend who's going to be teaching us today. Her name is Shelly, and you probably heard her last week on the podcast. She's amazing. And so we're going to interview her here in a minute for a little 5-minute ditty on some education, but this is episode 59. We Know Texas Vino. Will?
I literally just woke up from a coma.
Yeah, I know. Well, one of the cool things that Shelly did for us, of course, Shelly is the owner of the Bar Ditch Winery over in Stephenville, Texas. She fed us.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was a mistake.
And, man, holy cow! It's man.
Well, we know that Shelly's a country girl, and so we'll have to ask her. But I am a kind of a country boy as well. But we never fed the bears for a reason. They kept coming back. You remember that? And so I don't know how it is here in Texas, but we want to make sure that we honor her. Thank you for that great food. What did you have that you enjoyed so much? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm going to do it, and you're going to make fun of me.
Yeah, I'm going to make fun of you.
That's the lemon meringue pie.
Lemon meringue pie, yes.
And it was just
fantastic.
As good as my grandma used to make.
I love it. That's very cool.
My mom doesn't listen to my podcast.
That's right. Well, episode 59, educational portion here real quick. So, Shelly, thanks for hanging with us a little bit today. It's been a long day for you, and we're just grateful for all your energy. But you took us back into some of your rooms in the back here, a cooling area, and just your beautiful facility where you host events. And you told us something kind of cool, and I thought this would be perfect for education. And so when we walked into that barrel room, can you kind of explain not only the terms you used and, of course, the great ideology, but the kind of what we experienced when we walk in there?
So when you walk into the wine cellar and you open the doors, there's a definite smell or aroma, and you can tell it's a wine room. It has that wine smell. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we call that the angel's portion that's evaporated into the air. So you have your barrels. If I was to not top off the barrel but just leave it after 6 months or a year, I mean, there is an oxygen exchange and it evaporates down. And that's why you top it off to keep it, the oxygen out of it as much as you can. But what you smell in the air is the angel's portion. So let's say that you're just going to open a bottle of wine and you pour it in the glass and you let it breathe. Then you can just assume that the angels are gathering around you for their portion.
So the angel's portion, when she said that earlier, I'm like, we've got to record this. That is so awesome. I don't know if I've heard it as well described as that. That's really fun.
I've never heard it described actually like that at all. I mean, we talked about, the evaporation of wine in the barrels over time, and you have to continuously top it off. But I've actually never heard that terminology used before.
That's cool. Now, where did you learn that, Shelly? Where did you learn that term? You probably maybe already understood evaporation and the science behind that.
I have no idea
wow.
where
How much fun.
it came from.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just always kind of something that you knew that the angels had to have their portion too.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And so the smell, we got it because she had to stop and actually smell, right? And it's right. There's a distinct, really fun, I guess,
Yeah.
fragrance.
It
Can
was
I describe it as
fragrance.
that?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a definite fragrance.
To me, it is.
You could bottle it and definitely call it 80 wine.
There you go. Yeah, bottle it. It's a new perfume. That's awesome. Well, we're grateful for that. Yeah. And
Yes.
then, of course, your barrel room is amazing. And so when you walk in there, do you have any sort of like this spiritual moment, or do you have any kind of like this, like, ha, 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 you're thinking like, wow, it's a good profession to be in?
When I walk into there, I really feel at peace.
At peace.
I know that the wine is resting. Kind of when I walk in there, I can tell that it's doing well, that it's at peace, that it's resting, and that it's just where it's supposed to be at this point in time.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for teaching us that. That was
Yes.
really fun. I kind of topped off my day with Shelley. I mean, that was
Yeah.
really amazing. In addition to the food and, of course, the conversation. But that
Most
was really fun.
definitely.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
learned a lot. But, real quick, just a couple of our partnerships we're super proud of. And we actually have a representative here today. But Texas Wine Club down in Fredericksburg, we love those guys. They're showcasing wines from all over the state. And I know they're doing even more. I think they projected to do some even more unique, incredible things. Why not? Why not showcase those wines?
Yep.
So get involved with them. Go to their website. Have some fun. Texas Wine Lover app. We have Laurinda here today as an ambassador. We're very proud of that relationship and that partnership. Of course, Jeff Cope, the Godfather, and all the way down the line of all the people who are contributing to that amazing thing. And by the way, the winery at today needs to register for that. Understand? So we cannot leave here without that happening, Miss Laurinda. Okay.
Yep.
Flywithwine.com. They sent us a cool suitcase that can fit 12 bottles of wine. Our newest sponsor, solving wine shipping problems and dilemmas. The Wino guy. We love Andy Gonzalez. I hope he's listening to this. He is a really good man. Very intelligent wine enthusiast. Guided wine events, of course, blind tastings, deductive tasting guidelines, and much more. And then our final partnership is Twigga, and we were just at Twigga a couple weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Definitely was a blast. Well, I can't wait for next year.
Texas Wine Grape Grower Association. For
Yep.
all those who are like, what is Twigga? And that is what it is. So Yahoo. So we're out here. We've been blessed by Shelley to use her facility here at Bar Ditch Winery, which is pretty cool. So Will, real quick takeaway from this amazing young woman.
The takeaway from this is,
Yeah.
no matter what your level is
Yeah.
when it comes to wine drinking, you can always become an advocate for whatever environment you want to be in.
Yeah. And my takeaway is similar, and that is just that if you have a passion and you want to pursue something cool, it's not even a hobby. It's more just like there's something inside you that says, go do something like this and contribute and add to what's happening with the avalanche of energy and momentum. Then get involved, just like Laurinda did, and just get out there, right, Laurinda, and just don't take a chance and have fun.
Exactly.
And you're having fun.
I am.
Yeah. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Well, I have a couple quotes here to wrap up the day, and our quotes are usually pretty silly. I need to start researching. I only have a couple quotes left. I need to start
I think
researching.
your list is running low there. We
Oh,
may
my
have to start
goodness.
making our own quotes.
So my first quote, I think Laurinda will like this. It's really short. Working 9 to wine.
That's right.
I love that
Working
one. That's a
9
good
to
wine. There you go.
wine.
Sing it, brother.
Every day.
And then this one we'll wrap up with this week. But a bottle of good wine is the ultimate distillation of time and place, a poetic expression of individuality itself. Sorry, Will. I had to bring one more good one for you.
I'm gonna have to demand you let me have these quotes a week early so I can think about them.
You can research them, get the crib notes.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have one more here. Why not? Let's wrap it up with this one. Every time I open a bottle of wine, it is an amazing trip somewhere. Yahoo.
Yes.
So
That's true.
from We Know Texas Vino, this is Michael.
This will.
Cheers.
Cheers.